Rise Up theme song, take 18. Answering the difficult and critical questions youth may face that relate to Mormon culture and teachings. This is the Rise Up Podcast, produced by Fair Mormon. In what might be an unlikely option for people that are experiencing questions about their faith, on this episode I sit down with Craig L. Foster of the church's Family History Library to talk about how doing family history work can help people who are experiencing trials of faith, wanting to overcome addictions, or even dealing with depression. Prior to graduating from BYU, Craig L. Foster served as a missionary in Belgium and France. Craig earned a bachelor's degree in history and has a Master's of Library Information and Science and also a Master's degree in History, both from BYU. He's also an accredited genealogist and works as a research consultant at the Family History Library in Salt Lake City. He is the author of the book series, The Persistence of Polygamy, and he's here to talk with us today about family history and genealogy work. Again, that's his day job at the Family History Library in Salt Lake City. I see you're wearing your Family Search shirt.
Yes.
You're
trying to be official.
Yes, there you go. So our podcast here is designed to help the youth and young adults find answers to critical or difficult questions about the church. Some of them are going through some questions about their faith and things like that. With genealogy being your specialty and seeing that you again work for the church's Family History Library, I wanted to see if you maybe could help us figure out a way or a role for genealogy for those that might be having difficult or critical questions about the church. Do you get very many people that come in working on genealogy that talk about that sort of thing, like that they're struggling with their faith?
We have had some who have mentioned that. I would assume that there are more people who are using genealogy as maybe a way of trying to deal with faith issues. Or even other issues like substance abuse. We are aware of some people who have come in and have, in the course of our helping them do genealogy, we'll get to talking with them a little bit, and they've mentioned going through various issues. There was even a lady who was coming in for quite a while doing genealogy. She was actually not a member of the church, but she was dealing with the death of a little child of hers, and that was her way of dealing with it, was to lose herself into genealogy in family history. But I know that there are members of the church who have been dealing with different addictions, being addicted to one thing or another, who have decided that maybe the best way for them to deal with that is to focus on something else and to maybe put that energy rather than the addiction into another more productive field, such as doing family history, or even people who do indexing, which they can do from their home. They can get onto the computer, go to FamilySearch.org, and one of the options that they have on the front page is indexing, and they can click on that, get signed up, and start doing it. And one of my coworkers mentioned that he was aware of several people who have been dealing with depression, addiction, and just kind of feeling helpless, lost in the world, and so they've turned to doing indexing and have really not only been very helpful in doing that. The indexing, I better explain really quickly, is when people come to the Family History Library or go online to FamilySearch.org. And there's all of these records that are searchable where they can type in a name
like
and
census
some information,
records and things like that.
Census records, probate records, you name it. Then they type in the name and a little bit of information, and hopefully the correct record will come up. The way that that is done is people volunteers will spend anywhere from an hour or so each week to some people who have a lot of time spend a lot of hours. It doesn't matter. They can spend as little as a half hour to an hour a week or more. And what they do is they go through the records and they'll look, let's say it's a census record, there would be a page and they would type in each name and information and into the database, and then that's processed and will show up online for people who are trying to do their research.
Yeah.
And people have found a lot of satisfaction in doing that. And I know of one young lady in our former ward who was dealing with several issues. One was depression. Another one was just loneliness. She was very shy, and also a couple of addictions. And so it had kind of come together as a boiling point.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the bishop who actually suggested that she start indexing. And she really got into it. It started a little slowly at first, but then she really got going. And as far as I'm aware, she's still doing
going.
that. Yes.
Well, it seems kind of like an unlikely avenue for some. Like normally when people encounter things like a faith crisis or their questions or depression, these things, typically we hear the things of, well, pray and read scriptures and do things that are very valid responses. But they don't often go, have you ever thought about indexing? So What is it about that work that makes it perhaps unique in approaching people that are struggling with these things?
There's a couple of things, I think, with both indexing and doing family history. One is you're able to get a great sense of accomplishment, particularly if you are indexing. Yeah, I mean, at the end of each time that you do it, it'll say how many names you've done, and you can even get updates as to how many names you have indexed. So you have that tangible evidence there that you have accomplished something.
Yeah.
And in doing family history, the same thing. Sometimes it's a little harder